A very good afternoon and a very, very warm welcome indeed to the Central Coast. It is time for Match of the Round, a match certainly befitting of that status. It's the F3 Derby, a fixture so steeped in tradition and history at A-League level at least. However, meetings between these two academy sides are few and far between. Nearly 6 years since the last meeting between these two academy sides. Both sets of fans will be very much hoping it was worth the wait. You can hear the drums beating off to the left of our broadcast position here. The Yellow Army very much up and about for this. Good to see them bounce back from the disappointment of last night at A-League level. A chance for the Mariners perhaps to get a little bit of revenge following having to witness their bitter rivals lift the premiership plate. It's a big occasion, and big players will step up to rise to meet it. It's Pete Pryor with you this afternoon here for Round 12, League One Men's Match of the Round. Absolute pleasure to have your company, of course, as it always is, wherever it is in the world you may be tuning in from. Well, the starting lineups are in for Felipe Bernabeu Madrid's Mariners side. 4 changes from the side that dispatched of Inter Lions by 5-1 last weekend. Out drop Shumba Mutakui, Faraz Rahimi, Jai Ajanovic and Flynn Richards. In come Callum McCaskey, Arthur De Lima, Dylan Pereira-Cullen and Harvey James. The full starting 11 for the host this afternoon as follows. In goal, as we mentioned, Dylan Pereira-Cullen. The number 4 in captain, Michael Paragali. The 5, of course, Max Miller. 7, Harvey James. 9, Ahmed El Halou. 19, Callum McCaskey. 22, Arthur De Lima. 24, Kai Schumacher. 36, Cooper Hall. 38, Harry Jablonski. And 39, Lawrence Taylor. For the Jets Academy, 3 changes to the side, which was defeated, ending their 6-game unbeaten run, succumbing by 2-1 to Rydalmere Lions last weekend. Out drop Jordan Baylor, Stallo Sandy and Luca West. In come Caden Labach, Alex Nunez and former Mariner himself, of course, Lucas Cicluna. Their full starting 11 as follows. In goal, as we said, Caden Labach. The 2, Mackie Butner. The 4, Ben Van Dorsen. 6, Nick Battalato. 7, Lucas Cicluna. 9, Oliver Cockle. 10, Alex Nunez. 15, another former Mariner there in Gus Reid. 16, Jake Goodwin. 17, another former Mariner, of course. No shortage of them, Ethan DeBono. And 47, Richie Nkomo. Both sides going through their final preparations ahead of kickoff. The formalities now dispatched and done with. The traditional Match of the Round pre-game team photo. Football New South Wales photographer Tony Loxley will be kept very busy this afternoon, I'm sure. Plenty of action. We've waited a long time for this. 5 years and 8 months since these two sides last faced off. And we'll come back to that in just a moment. Because what a game it was, all the way back in 2020. It's the Yellow Army making all the noise at the moment. You can see just across from our broadcast position as Newcastle Jets get us underway for your Sunday afternoon. You can see those Newcastle fans, the Terrace Nova Castria, as it comes over the top there for De Bono, who's causing a couple of headaches early, and he's won his side a free kick early on in the piece here at Plume, which the Jets look to take quickly, all too quickly for the referee's liking. He calls them back and just signals, wait for my whistle, please. And Como is one of 2 standing over this, as is Cicluna, who's walked away and left it, and Como to whip it in towards the back stick. Rising initially was McCaskey, who's plied his trade mostly in the under-20 setup so far this season. Callum McCaskey made his first grade debut last season against Marconi. for the Central Coast Mariners. Still so young as well, but richly talented. A lot of big raps on this young man. He makes his first grade start of the season for the Central Coast Mariners at the heart of defence alongside Michael Paragali. Now it's Nkomo. Held up by Cooper Hall. Real tussle between Nkomo and Hall out there, and both benches feeling a little hard done by. Eventually the whistle does come in favour of the Central Coast Mariners. Cooper Hall, who's been in scintillating form. But it's Cicluna now looking to sparkle for the Jets. Wonderful slide rule ball for DeBono! Ethan DeBono breaks the deadlock oh so early here at Plume Park. And just as they did last night at McDonald Jones, the Jets hit the front. It's a former Mariner who's done the damage. Two former Mariners, in fact. Cicluna to DeBono to the back of the net. Well, that start will be just what the doctor ordered for these Jets. As we said, looking to bounce back from the disappointment of last weekend's loss. Goal number 6 of the season for Ethan DeBono. 6 in his last 5 appearances as well, if you don't mind. He's in some form at the moment. And Como will get there ahead of Cooper Hall. Hall now might just pick his pocket, though. He does indeed. Has Miller supporting. Back to Paragali. The Mariners will work it all the way back to their goalkeeper and look to reset here. They can't get it out of their own half at the moment. Here's Nunes. Cicluna. Wide is Butner. Working their way into the area with Cockle. Back to Battalato and back on halfway just to try and reset here. El Helu nearly taking it off the toe of his former teammate there in Gus Reid. Well, they've got their tails up here, the Jets. It's DeBono again. Bearing down on goal. Cicluna maybe thought about the strike, instead works it to an alternate angle for Butner, whose delivery is blocked off. Now, what a start we've had here at Plume Park. De Lima trying to work it into the Jets half. Butner tracked him all the way. Battalato took a moment or two to sort his feet out, able to dig it out from underneath him eventually. Schumacher. Little dink towards the chest of De Lima, and now Harvey James! 1-1! Inside 5 minutes here at Plume Park. Harvey James prods it beyond the despairing Caden Labache. Parity restored at Plume Park. Well, just listen to what it means to those home supporters here on the Central Coast. Goal number 4 of the season for Harvey James. 3 in his last 4 appearances as well, if you don't mind. Three in his last 3, my apologies. Including today. Well, no time to even consider taking a breather here. Nunes. Cicluna, head up and always scanning for options. One of you was Butner on this near touchline. End-to-end stuff here at Plume As we said, nearly 6 years since these two sides last met, and it's certainly living up to the billing as Al Helu works it to Hall. And this is going to be interesting for Lobach. A wicked deflection there. The Jets goalkeeper had a long time to see it, but he was still tracking backwards desperately as it looped high and swirled through the air for an age. Pressing again there is De Lima, nearly winning it off the toe of Van Dawson. Now looking to box the Jets in. De Lima just left it short of his teammate there, not on the same wavelength, and played it straight to the feet of Cicluna, who in turn is not on the same wavelength as Goodwin. Wonderful, real sort of tempo and zip to the opening exchanges here at Plume. Punch and counter punch, and Cicluna slips it in behind for Cockle. Oh! It came at him oh so quickly there, Ollie Cockle. Dylan Pereich-Cullen off his line very quickly to narrow the angle and try and make it tough. But Cockle just pulled it wide. It's all down to the fantastic work again in the middle of the park from Lucas Cicluna, the former Mariner, arriving back on the coast today, seemingly with a real point to prove against his former employers. Well, we said, of course, nearly 6 years since these two sides last met. That one was up at Lake Macquarie Football Facility. Finished 4-4 on the day, in fact. And I'll tell you what, the way things are panning out so far, we could be in for more of the same. Matthew Cahill scored a hat-trick on the day for the Central Coast Mariners. He now plies his trade up in the northern New South Wales football system with Lambton Jaffers. Schumacher sliding in. Thought for a second we might have our first yellow card of the afternoon. Referee will call Kai Schumacher back. He's really scythed down Oliver Cockle there. He's still down on the turf. Just a ticking off for Kai Schumacher. And again, the Jets want to get things underway a little too quickly for the referee's liking. They do this time. The referee happy to allow it to continue. And Max Miller happy to win it back for the Mariners and in turn be dragged down and win his side a free kick. Well, both sets of players, as we said, trading punch and counter punch in the opening 10 minutes here. Mind you, some of the fans off the pitch as well. Yellow Army and Terrace Novacastria both in seemingly high spirits. Jablonski turns it around the corner for Harvey James. Working their way in tight spaces very nicely indeed. De Lima and James again now. And that's a wonderful ball to find Arthur De Lima, who will strike. And it was dipping. Just a little too late for his liking. But that's his sort of range, Arthur De Lima. Not far away at all. Oh, it was struck pure and true. Getting a look at the replay on the monitors here. And it was certainly dipping. Caden Lobach confident that he had his angles correct in goal for the Newcastle Jets, and he'll have the ball back at his feet here as well. Oh, that's looked like it might have been left a little bit short of Lobach, and Schumacher looking to create some chaos. Battalato just able to sort his feet out in the nick of time, and now Nkomo wants to get things moving forward. Hemmed into his own area, and he's brought down Cooper Hall, and the whistle will go. A glorious afternoon here on the Central Coast. If you are just joining us on the broadcast for this match of the round. Round 12 it is, of course, the F3 Derby Academy version. The Central Coast Mariners hosting the Newcastle Jets. It's been a frantic and frenetic opening 11 and a half minutes. The Mariners looking to cause some more franticness, if that even is a word. Hooked into the area. It should be comfortable enough for Lobach to rise and pluck it out of the afternoon sky here at Plume. Paragali wins it back high up the pitch. Not for long, though. These Jets transition so rapidly. Nunes couldn't quite measure the pass correctly, and now James will get the return pass as well. Just a little too far ahead of De Lima, allowing Van Dawson to win it back for his side. These sides both playing with a great amount of verticality and thrust going forwards. You love to see it. Is Nunes, who was on the bench for the Jets A-League side as they lifted the premiership place in the Hunter last night. Cicluna, who was also very central to the celebrations. Good-looking clip over the top as well to pick out his teammate there in Nunes. McCaskey quickly across to snuff out the danger. The ball had gone out of play in any case. Raking crossfield ball, that is, from Paragali. It's just held up in the air. Perhaps hit an air pocket on the way through and didn't find its way through to Harvey James. The ball to Nkomo. Well, he's quick, but he's not that quick. Well, for the first time this afternoon, a bit of an eerie hush falling over the crowd here at Plume Park. Sure, the Yellow Army and Terrace Nova Castria just taking a moment to catch their breath after a breathless opening start to this match of the round. Oh, that's a little bit late on Jablonski. Referee just waited to see if any advantage would accrue for the Mariners. It didn't. The whistle eventually arriving in favour of the Mariners. It was very late on Jablonski indeed, in fact. Who was named in the Mariners A-League 20-man squad for the first time for the final round of the A-League men's season. Didn't make the eventual matchday squad, but a sign of what these Central Coast Mariners are all about. We saw Jesse Mantell, who's broken into the A-League side. He was just about ever present for the academy over the last couple of years as Jablonski hoists it high into the area towards the penalty spot. Paragali has Hall wide and will use him. Cooper Hall, as we said, 3 goals from his last 3 appearances, has been a fantastic touch since his promotion from the under-20 side. Another one who's been at the club for years and years and years, formerly under the tutelage of another academy product in Dan Hall, who these days plies his trade for Auckland. No relation, Cooper Hall or Dan Hall. Just a happy coincidence. Here's McCaskey. Looking to show off his expansive range of passing. Lobach was nearly caught in no man's land there, and he's still off his line as Lawrence Taylor wins it back for the Mariners. Dinked over the top for Hall. First time delivery for James arriving. Brushing over the locks of Harvey James. Now De Lima to deliver. Didn't quite measure it though. Max Miller, who's inverted and operating very centrally at the moment. Cooper Hall can't find any further progress. Schumacher will win it back. Well, he's one who crossed the divide in the opposite direction. Kai Schumacher, a former Newcastle Jet himself. A distant memory these days, I'm sure. Scored a wonderful lobbed effort to round out the Mariners' rout over Inter Lions last week. That 5-1 victory. Kai Schumacher spotting the goalkeeper off his line, winning it about 35 yards out from goal and just clipping it oh so sweetly. It's a sliding challenge from McCaskey, is nowhere near Cockle, who bears down on goal. Dylan Pirajic-Cullen made himself big for as long as possible. And that is a proper derby sort of challenge there on Michael Paragali, who's feeling every bit of that challenge. Mackie Butner, I fancy it was. I'll tell you what, just getting a look at that initial missed sliding challenge from McCaskey, he's probably lucky that he did miss entirely there, because he could have found himself in a bit of trouble had he connected with Ollie Cockle. Certainly just mistimed. You've got to get those ones right. Here is Butner. Badalato. It's working it back to Van Dawson and Reed and Como. The Jets now looking to work an alternate angle. No avenues afforded moving forward, so back it will go. Van Dawson, Nunes busy buzzing around everywhere, as he so often does. Butner. Badalato continued his run forward. Butner wasn't happy with the angle presented. Back it will go. The Jets enjoying a sustained period of possession here. No real advances available to them, though, so far. Badalato, Reed. It's all being played pretty much on the halfway line at the moment. Badalato. Wide it goes to Cockle, who drifted wide there, hugging the touchline. Didn't measure the pass, though, to Butner, who was the fullback who inverted. The Mariners, well drilled, well organised defensively in that instance, occupying all the passing lanes so impressively and winning the throw-in at the end of it all as well. Tussle there between De Lima and Van Dawson. Final touch off the Newcastle Jets. The Mariners able to advance up this near touchline via successive throw-ins. Jablonski working the levers to hoist it in towards Taylor. Hooked straight into touch, though. Jablonski will get another go at it. It was intended for Lawrence Taylor. Van Dawson inserted himself between Taylor and the ball, but at the expense of a corner. Right in front of those Mariners supporters, the Yellow Army in fine voice. To be honest, I was at McDonald Jones Stadium on a radio call last night. I'm surprised any of these Yellow Army boys have any voice left. De Lima, in-swinging delivery. Prodded towards goal by McCaskey, who appealed for perhaps a potential handball or perhaps another corner. We'll never really know. It was very half-hearted. And so it remains. Just over 20 minutes gone here on the Central Coast. All square between these Jets and the Mariners as Nkomo looks to slide it into De Bono, who opened the scoring so early against his former side. It always felt written in the script that Ethan De Bono and Lucas Cicluna would have some sort of impact on proceedings this afternoon, and so it turned out in the opening knockings. Cicluna providing the assist. Could have two, in fact, as well. He laid on another superb slide rule pass earlier for Ollie Cockle, who just skewed his shot wide. Badalato looking to play something into the half space for Butner, who will keep it in play. Has Cockle in support and will use him. Trying to work an angle for the delivery here. Badalato now intelligently letting it run across his body. Everyone behind the ball for the Mariners as Badalato tries to pick the lock. Using the wrong tools, perhaps. Prajec Cullen rolls it to the feet of McCaskey, who looks to clip one in behind, now giving El Helu something to chase. Leads the line impressively, Ahmed El Helu. Can be a tough task, but ferocious in the press, intelligent with his timing and his runs. Just a matter of service sometimes as Schumacher looks to provide some for Cooper Hall. Good strength initially before Van Dawson bundles him over. No free kick awarded. Taylor now looking to keep Van Dawson honest. And he'll win aside a corner, Lawrence Taylor. Well, after a absolutely full throttle opening 10 minutes or so here at Plume Park, things have just settled a little bit for the time being. Certainly no shortage of action. It's not a criticism whatsoever. Both sides just trying to settle into a bit more of a rhythm now. The Mariners have a corner. Hoisted in high and right on top of the goalkeeper is straight in. Michael Paragali will take the credit. A captain's knock for these Central Coast Mariners. And they hit the front for the first time this afternoon. It was a wicked teasing delivery from Harry Jablonski that did the damage. And Michael Paragali prods it home. The drums resume. The Yellow Army very much up and about. They like what they see. As well they might, but Cicluna looking to dampen the mood. His advance is halted by the Mariners' latest goal scorer there in Paragali. Doesn't mind popping up with a goal at crucial moments, does the Mariners' skipper. One who really leads by example, Michael Paragali, the former Canberra product. And I'll tell you what, we're going to see our first yellow card of the afternoon. That's very late indeed. Just getting a look at the replay on the monitors on the challenge on Max Miller. Oof. Didn't look any better on second or third viewing, I'll tell you what. Lucas Cicluna. Looked like a real frustrated sort of challenge there from the former Mariners skipper, in fact, Lucas Cicluna. And some real concern for the well-being of young Max Miller, who's remained down. It's a scything sort of motion in the challenge there from Lucas Cicluna, who I think knew the yellow card was coming his way. He nonchalantly sort of brushed it off after it was, shall we say, awarded to him. He now does come over to check on the well-being of his former teammate in Max Miller. He may not be too happy with the challenge from his former teammate either. He's back to his feet, though, in good signs for the Central Coast Mariners. Virtually ever present since his introduction into the first grade setup last season, Max Miller, following the departure of Luca Pecora. Has acquitted himself so impressively as well. Here's another one who has done just that. Jablonski, his touch just eluded him that time, though. It's Harvey James giving Butner no end of headaches here. Hemmed in is Mackie Butner. DeLima comes across to join the party. Final touch over the touchline, though, is from Arthur DeLima. Well, I'm going to put myself right in it here because I did say just before the delivery of the corner from Harry Jablonski that the game had sort of settled into a bit of a rhythm after what was such a frantic opening 10 minutes. And then, of course, Jablonski causing chaos once more with the delivery. Paragali turning us home, and that's the tale of the tape so far in this one here at Pluim Park. Ethan De Bono opening the scoring for the Jets, pegged back almost immediately by Harvey James, and Michael Paragali putting the hosts ahead. Well, that's brave from the Jets goalkeeper there, Lobach. And the Jets have played their way into trouble. Flicked around the corner from El Helu. Harvey James bearing down on goal once again. Mackie Butner hooked it clear at the very last available moment. Mariners will have another corner right in front of their adoring fans. Arthur DeLima standing over this one. Harry Jablonski is the short option, but before the delivery, the referee will have some sorting out to do. Bit of a tango occurring in that 6-yard box. Referee perhaps saying it's not quite time for the disco. I believe the local disco opens at about 6 o'clock this evening, so we've still got a couple of hours to go. Now, DeLima to deliver. Flicked around the corner by El Helu. McCaskey now off the post. And then turned in. But denied by the offside flag on the far touchline. Harvey James thought he had extended his size advantage. No real protest, though, of the offside flag as the Jets now look to play their way out of trouble. Brave or foolhardy, I'll let you decide. Well, they've retained possession, so perhaps the former. Or perhaps the latter, in fact. DeLima now. Good-looking ball for El Helu, who's wide and will strike. Draws a save out of Caden Labach. Tough angle for the Mariners' number 9. Did well to hit the target, though. Now, for the first time in what seems like an age, the Jets able to break out of their own half. Nunez delivered over the top. Contact between Ollie Cockle and a Mariners defender there. I fancy it may have been McCaskey, who's been in the thick of things at both ends in the last 2 minutes, striking the post, and I'm fairly sure the woodwork is still rattling after that effort from the Mariners centre half in his first start of the season. I've had no end of headaches. We've seen 4 or 5 different combinations of the central defensive partnership for the Central Coast Mariners. Zaid Cassidy, Shumba Motukui, Nicola Salavia, all getting a turn. Salavia came off during last week's contest in the under-20s. Looked to be carrying an injury. So Callum McCaskey gets his first start of the season. Proving up to the task so far. Harvey James. Butner able to get around the outside of James. Square ball to the feet of Cockle. Just ahead of Cicluna. De Bono racing back to try and retrieve it, but good strength once again from Cooper Hall. Mariners looking to get forwards. It will make its way all the way back to Lobach, who had to be quick off his line and was. Here's Nunez on halfway for the Jets. And Como. And Como continued his run forwards. The ball never arrived. Bit of a frustrated throw of the head back there from Richie and Como. Cicluna cry coming from the Jets bench is forward now. Forward now. Chris Zoricic wants to see a bit more verticality from his Jets. Cockle looking to inject just that. Nunez met by a very compact and tight Mariners defence. They'll come again here. And Como clipped over the top for De Bono. Paragali arriving on the scene to great effect. At the expense of a corner, though. Corner taken quickly. And Como. Badalato. Something building here, perhaps, for the Jets. Van Dawson. What can they conjure? De Bono. Secluna. Sliding challenge takes away the legs. I fancy it was De Bono. And a free kick in a tantalising position here. A chance for the Jets perhaps to restore parity. There'll be no shortage of suitors, I'm sure, lining up, wanting to try and cast some shadow on Dylan Pereira-Cullen's goal. It's in such a wonderful sort of area, and Pereira-Cullen will have to ensure that he's got his wall set just so. About 23 or 24 yards out. Just to the right of centre. Angle perhaps favouring the left footer, and Nunez is that option standing over it. 4 in the wall for the Mariners. Will it be Nunez? It'll be De Bono, in fact. Final touch off a yellow jersey, and behind it goes for a corner. Trying to just creep it around that wall and catch Dylan Pereira-Cullen out. Ball doing its job, though. Secluna plays it to the feet of Badalato from the resultant corner. Nodded clear initially, but only as far as Nkomo, who's going to hoist it straight back into the area. Appeals for offside, not heeded. Pereira-Cullen will claim it and quickly release it up over halfway as well. A looping, swirling sort of ball, giving De Lima something to chase. Keeping Butner very honest indeed. De Lima, effective pressing. The home fans like what they see. Just a goal kick, though. Will be Gus Reid to take the restart for the Newcastle Jets. Well, about 10 minutes of regulation time remain in the opening stanza here at Plume. It's 35 minutes that have absolutely flown by. Here in match of the round for the Football New South Wales League One men's competition. It is round 12. It's a fixture that both sets of supporters have waited so long for. They're being treated to an absolute display from both sides here. The F3 derby, as we said, a fixture so steeped in rich history, a bitter rivalry that we've seen play out for over 20 years at A-League's level. Now a new chapter being written here on the Central Coast in the Football New South Wales League's competition. Two academy sides, of course, have squared off numerous times at National Youth League level in the former National Youth League competition. That competition is now defunct, of course. We are so glad to be treated to this display from these two young sides brimming with promise and talent. Oof. Brimming with fire and brimstone there as well. That's a very agricultural sort of challenge, I think, is the kindest way I could describe that. No yellow card forthcoming for Lawrence Taylor. Both the Central Coast Mariners and the Newcastle Jets, of course, have relied so heavily on their academy and over the last few years that has borne fruit for both sides. Jets, of course, 25-26 Isuzu Ute A-League premiers. And here's Cicluna, who was involved in that triumph. And Como whipped into the area, repelled initially, and then Lawrence Taylor completes the clearance emphatically. Of course, the Mariners have had multiple successes over the last few years as well. As De Bono looks to chase this one down. Does well to keep it in the field of play, or does he? He does not. The Mariners, of course, 23 Isuzu Ute A-League champions. Before that famous treble in 23-24 with so many academy products involved. The likes of Josh Nisbet, Max Ballard, both plying their trade in the Netherlands these days. Dan Hall, as we already mentioned earlier on the broadcast, plying his trade for last year's premiers, Auckland. Jacob Farrell, currently on the books at Portsmouth. Not to forget the likes of Sammy Silvera as well, who was involved in that 22-23 season. Nectar Triantis as well. The list goes on. Our focus is very firmly here for the stars of today, looking to be the stars of tomorrow. We've already seen the likes of, as we said, hometown hero Jesse Mantell, who's broken into the A-League setup, and what a moment he had the other week as well at Polytech Stadium. His starting debut in front of his home fans, so many former teammates and schoolmates there, and scoring after a lengthy VAR check. Wholesome scenes, though, for someone who really epitomises what both of these academies are about, really. Jesse Mantell, having come through the grassroots system here on the Central Coast at Terrigal Junior, worked his way through to Central Coast United and through to the academy for the Mariners, and does not look a step out of place whatsoever in the A-Leagues. Many of these Mariners and Jets, of course, will be looking to follow a similar sort of path. It's hard not to get excited when you talk about both sides, of course, brimming, as we said, with talent and promise. And here's one of those in Arthur DeLima, who will strike. He was blocked off initially from a long way out. The strike will come from Jablonski. Well, he's not short on confidence. But not casting any shadow on Caden Lobach's goal. Oliver Cockle, who's just dropped off the line for the time being. Now, Cicluna spinning to create a couple of yards of separation. Does well to pick out Nunes. His pass doesn't match, though, the quality of what we just saw from Cicluna. A clip over the top there, giving DeLima something to chase. He's a long way ahead of Arthur DeLima, though. Como on halfway. We got the return pass as well, Richie and Como, but touch just letting him down, and Schumacher puts his foot through it. Now DeLima's going to continue the press all the way up to Lobach. Call as you like. Finds the feet of Ben Van Dorsen, who now will stride forward from centre half. Add that to the list of things you love to see. Centre halves marauding forward. Butner. Here's Battalasso. Looking to turn up the dial a little bit here now, the Jets. Nunes. Cicluna. Intricate short passing game on display now. Battalato. Unhappy with any of the options presented to him. Goes back to halfway to Van Dorsen. Jets now just looking to be a little bit more patient in their build-up. More measured, more considered, and they'll have to be. Mariners have been resolute for the most part. Nearly undone by a couple of moments of brilliance by Lucas Cicluna, who was such a wonderful technician. But now it's El Helu striding forward, bearing down on goal here. Ahmed El Helu will strike from outside the area. Saved well by Caden Lobach. And the Jets look to go straight up the other end. Paragali read the danger. Puts it into touch to allow his side to regroup and regather. They won't have much time to do that, though. Again, Paragali will win it off the feet of Goodwin. Jake Goodwin, I feel, is a player that the Jets will certainly want to get more involved in the game. Hasn't been given too much opportunity, but he has been thwarted by, as we said, what has been a very resolute Mariners defence. Dylan Praej-Cullen, this time showing no interest in playing short from the goal kick, as he would be well counselled. Just a couple of minutes to go until the interval here on the Central Coast. The Mariners maintaining that slender advantage over their northern rivals. It's Cockle. He's left it a little too far ahead of Nunez. It works out in a roundabout sort of way as Battalato is able to help it on to Cicluna. Rides a couple of challenges there from Hall and then Schumacher, and Schumacher a little too much on Cicluna, and a couple of little afters here between Schumacher and Como. We've seen a couple of little flashpoints in this one. As we said, no shortage of feeling between the two sides. Just Lucas Cicluna in the book so far. And with time ticking away in the first stanza of this one, the Jets perhaps with one last opportunity of the half to cause some mayhem. Nunez repelled from the edge of the area as far as Battalato. Not the greatest of deliveries there from Alex Nunez, but that's a great turn from Lucas Cicluna. And not a bad ball either to find De Bono, who tries to chase it down. Well, in fact, it's a little too heavy from Lucas Cicluna, who's been involved in just about every positive action moving forward in the first half here for the Newcastle Jets. Of course, got the assist for the opener, which was finished expertly by Ethan De Bono. Nearly had another assist as well for Ollie Cockle, who just couldn't quite apply the finish. Dylan Praej-Cullen just getting some words of encouragement to get on with proceedings from the referee as we tick it over the 45th minute here. Cockle going through the back of Jablonski, who had body position, and he'll be in no real sort of hurry to retake his feet here, Harry Jablonski. At the mercy of the referee now as to how much time may be added on. I fancy maybe just the regulation 1 minute. Maybe just enough time for Dylan Praej-Cullen to take the restart. Again, just a peep of the whistle to encourage the big Mariners gloveman to get on with proceedings. Seems the referee indicated that, yes, there will just be the 1 minute of time added on. As Praej-Cullen sends it into the afternoon sky. El Helu nods it down to Schumacher, who can't quite retain possession. It's a bit frenetic, a bit chaotic. El Helu does ever so well, tracking back to win it back for his side and find Miller. Couldn't stick the pass, though, and maybe one last roll of the dice here for these Jets. Nunez. Mariners quick to retreat in numbers. De Bono. Forced backwards, and Como. Cicluna. It's too far ahead of Lucas Cicluna. Rolls harmlessly behind in the end. And I fancy that may just be that. Again, Perejic Cullen. No real sort of urgency to take the restart. Perhaps unsurprisingly. Sent over halfway. It hangs in the air for an age, the ball, and impressive hang time as well from Van Dawson, I should say, who rises to meet it. Prodded into touch, and that will be the final action of this match of the round here in round 12 for the Football New South Wales League One men's competition. The F3 Derby Academy version between the Central Coast Mariners and the Newcastle Jets. The Mariners will take a lead into the sheds at the interval. Goals to Harvey James and their captain, Michael Paragali, cancelling out Ethan De Bono's early opener. It's 2-1 here on the coast. We're off for a short break, but don't you dare go anywhere. Make sure that you join us for the second half in about 15 or so minutes' time. A very warm welcome indeed back to Pluham Park here in leafy Lisero on the Central Coast. It's round 12 in the Football New South Wales League One men's competition. It is match of the round. It is the F3 Derby Academy version between these Central Coast Mariners and Newcastle Jets Academies. 2-1 at the interval. The Mariners lead. Ethan De Bono it was who opened the scoring for the Jets, however, cancelled out by Harvey James before the go-ahead goal for the Mariners captain, Michael Paragali. Here's what separates the sides so far. It is the Mariners to resume hostilities for the second stanza, kicking from left to right on your screens. El Helu giving chase and keeping the Jets backline very honest indeed once again, as he so often does. Able to play their way just about through the press. Here the Jets, they do indeed. Mariners retreat into their defensive banks. Doesn't look like any changes at the interval for either side. So hostility is resumed as we were in Como. De Bono. Como. Well read by El Helu, who links up with De Lima, whose touch just evaded him at the crucial moment. Now the Jets look to transition rapidly. Flying forward was Nunes, but Paragali inserts himself between Nunes and the ball, getting body position and good strength in the follow-up there from Paragali as well. Not so, though, from De Lima. It was all too easy for Gus Reid to win it, and that's an easy free kick to award. Cicluna wanted to get things on the move quickly. We would recommend waiting until after full time to swap jerseys. Very strong handful, fistful of the jersey there of Lucas Cicluna. Resultant free kick coming to Nout anyway. Here is Cicluna, who's been so busy this afternoon. Pulling all the strings in the middle of the park. Has this real sort of talismanic nature to him, does Lucas Cicluna, and I'm not one who likes to use that term lightly. Van Dawson under pressure immediately by De Lima, who has a couple of chops towards the ball. Free kick eventually arriving in favour of the Newcastle Jets. De Lima had 1, 2 and 3 chops at the legs of Ben Van Dawson. James wins it in the air initially. Now Taylor doesn't stick the pass. Lawrence Taylor, and now Cicluna rolls it wide to the feet of De Bono, and Como will receive on the overlap. Back to Cicluna. Measured, dinked delivery towards Nunes. Good strength from Michael Paragali. Wins the physical contest between he and Alex Nunes. Driven forward there by McCaskey. It's an interesting looking ball as well, giving Taylor something to chase. Gus Reid read the situation well and nodded it back. It looks dangerous for a moment there, but measured by Reid and collected by Lobach. Battalato. Oh, he's left it a little bit short of Lobach, who's got a real puzzle to figure out. Schumacher. Well, similar sort of range to where he scored that lob from last week against Inter Lions. Didn't quite get the purchase on it this time, and now Nkomo is flooding forward for the Jets. Delivery initially picked out by Paragali and clearance completed by Miller. The Jets looking to swing that pendulum of momentum back into their favour. Butner. Well, the Yellow Army just having a couple of words there with Lucas Cicluna. Pleasantries exchanged, I'm sure. De Lima, one-on-one with Cicluna. Couple of step overs, but tried to force his way down that touchline. Running out of real estate there, Arthur De Lima. Nkomo, oh, it's left all too short of Nkomo, and Cooper Hall read it like a book. Delivered by Hall to the back stick. Header flashing over from Harvey James, who looked to add a second after his early goal, early equaliser, of course. It was on top of him before he knew it. Harvey James, difficult to get the purchase required to guide it goalwards. Jets can breathe a sigh of relief, and now Cicluna advancing over halfway is Butner. De Bono, who looks to have switched flanks for the time being. Jets asking the question for a free kick there. Referee feeling the contact not worthy. Paragali looking long into the channel. Into touch it goes, and maybe an opportunity for the Mariners to perhaps box the Jets in here. De Bono trying to evade the attention of Max Miller unsuccessfully. Cicluna forced backwards to Reed. Van Dawson. Reed under some pressure here from El Helu, who wins it off the toe of his former teammate, and now Schumacher thought about the strike instead. Looked to roll it to the feet of Harvey James. May have been wiser counselled to go directly for goal instead himself there, Kai Schumacher. Didn't quite stick the pass. Van Dawson had body position ahead of De Lima. Now Nunes. Something building here perhaps for the Jets. Sliding challenges from Schumacher, and there's a couple of little afters between he and Jake Goodwin. End result is a corner on that far side for Newcastle as they look to work their way back into the game. It's a weird, flat sort of delivery, which nearly caused a bit of chaos, you know. Here's Nkomo. Butner. All the way back to the Jets custodian in Lobach. Nkomo tries to skip inside of Cooper Hall, who wins the challenge, but the Jets will retain it. Gus Reed. Jablonski read the situation there. Reached it ahead of Butner. Forced into touch though. Here's Nkomo. Looking for the channel pass to Nunes. It's a very good one indeed. Matched by an even better save by Dylan Panaich-Cullen. That's how quickly they can hurt you. And almost immediately, straight up the other end, comes Ahmed El Helu. Clipped in. towards the back stick, nodded down towards James. Ball at his feet, can't quite dig it out though. Punch and counter punch here at Plume Park. The Jets looking to go up the other end immediately. Cicluna finding the feet now of Ollie Cockle. Nunez wants it on the top of the box. Laid off by Cockle. Strike arriving from Badalato. Panayich Cullen very happy to watch that sail high and wide. Well, after what was perhaps a more measured and considered opening 10 minutes than we saw in the first half, in the last couple of minutes we've seen a flurry of chances as this one looks to spring back into life somewhat. Jablonski under immense pressure. Schumacher looking long, giving El Helu something to chase, but it's a long way ahead of the Mariners' number 9. There's a bit happening off the ball on this near touchline between Cooper Hall and Richie and Como as well. Meanwhile, Nunez left the pass too short, and El Helu looks to capitalise. Lawrence Taylor will strike. Straight into the breadbasket of Caden Lobach. Here's Nick Badalato. Cicluna now. Skips inside of Cooper Hall and then dinks one over the top. It's a delicious looking delivery, that from Cicluna. Jake Goodwin was matched stride for stride by the Mariners captain, Michael Paragali. Corner taking quickly, and Como, Badalato, looking to play with an intricate sequence of short passes there. Cicluna. Cockle pulled into the area first time and repelled by Schumacher and then Jablonski. And now De Lima feels Buettner in his back. Harvey James will send it back over halfway. Well, after De Lima wins it off the toe of his opponent now, Lawrence Taylor will just help it on to Miller. Hall. 1-on-1 with Nkomo, who wins that battle comfortably. Max Miller racing back to win it back for the Mariners. Just on a different wavelength, though, to both Hall and Lawrence Taylor. Now, De Bono looks to stretch the field now. Nunez doesn't have the beating of McCaskey, who sends it long again, but it's comfortable for Lobach. Cockle. Wins the free kick, Ollie Cockle. Feeling the contact there from Schumacher, who did look a little late. The Jets keen to get things on the move quickly. Sliding in is McCaskey. Cockle will retrieve it. Strike will come at the end of it from Goodwin. Half-hearted shouts for handball, not heeded. Now El Helu should win this and does ahead of Badalato. Has support in the form of Cooper Hall. De Lima is also central. El Helu might just look to go himself. He will, you know. It didn't measure the shot correctly there. The Mariners' number 9, Ahmed El Helu. And the Mariners will now look to take the opportunity to go to their bench. The first side to do so this afternoon. Harvey James looks to be making his way across to take his leave for the afternoon. As is Callum McCaskey. Logan Sambrook introduced in place of Harvey James, and Shumba Mutakoi will also join the fray. So like-for-like changes there for Philip Bernabeu, Madrid's side. Mutakoye will come on in place of McCaskey to partner Michael Paragalli at the heart of defence. Logan Sambrook will take his place on that left flank. You feel it's only a matter of time until Chris Zoricic perhaps opts to go to his bench as well. It is the Jets soaring forward now, though. And Como. Square ball for Nunes. It was a tough one to control. Nearly brought it under his spell ever so well. Here's De Bono. Oh, just got that all wrong. Ethan De Bono scored the opener, of course, also early. Inside 3 minutes here at Pluim Park. That effort from the former Mariner not quite matching the same level of quality as to what he previously produced. Panayic Cullen under a bit of pressure, able to free his feet and send it up towards halfway. And Como. Lawrence Taylor it is who wins out, and then Cooper Hall will look to ride a couple of challenges. Max Miller does well to keep it in the field of play. Does even better to evade the attention, not once but twice, of De Bono. Pulled into the area! The strike from Arthur De Lima, flashing narrowly over the crossbar. Caden Lobach was just about at full stretch, I should say. Arthur De Lima was just that close to extending the host's lead. Well, that's got the Yellow Army back up and about. But it's the Jets again looking to soar forward here. Not if Paragalli has anything to say about it. He will now carry it forwards. Cicluna for the Jets. De Bono helps it on. Cicluna. This is better. Lucas Cicluna now. Well, Harry Jablonski had to time that perfectly, and he did. And look at what it means to the Mariners left back. Racing across to play cover defender. And halts the advance of Cicluna, who will have it back at his feet here now. Bono and tussling with Jablonski, who's able to dig it out, and Schumacher will help it on to find Ahmed El-Helu to the feet of De Lima, and now El-Helu is clean through, but for a top save. Caden Lobach read the danger and was quickly out to snuff it out, just as Ahmed El-Helu looked to pull the trigger. It's a very good piece of goalkeeping. Take nothing away from that. Cicluna. Nunes. And Como might have just stolen a march on his fullback here. Pulled into the area. It's all too far ahead of Ethan De Bono. Cooper Hall looks for the back heel. Might just win it back here as well, Cooper Hall. He's dragged down. Referee says nothing doing. Now Nunes with a couple of yards of space to fashion something perhaps here. Alex Nunes weaving towards goal, and Cockle is offside. Well, Chris Zoricic, I fancy, is readying a couple of changes on the sideline. Can't quite see exactly who that is. He does have plenty of options on the bench, including the likes of Lucas Johnson, Luca West, Noah Peacock as well. It's De Bono, though. Good look Looking ball it was for Jake Goodwin, who's become a little more involved in proceedings in the second stanza. Jake Goodwin, we did say earlier in the broadcast, he's the kind of player that they really need to try and bring into the game a little bit more. Hasn't had too much success, so it's been tough going. Miller, channel ball there for Cooper Hall, who gets there ahead of his opposite number and helps it on towards Lawrence Taylor. And again, it's Labatch who read the situation well. Keen to get things on the move quickly. Cicluna, slide rule pass looking for De Bono. Can he do it again? Ethan De Bono! Pulled towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Jake Goodwin was arriving menacingly. Crucial intervention from the Mariners defence there to turn it over the crossbar. And I'll tell you what, it could have ended up just about anywhere. But again, it's the combination of Lucas Cicluna and Ethan De Bono causing carnage. Michael Paragali it was who turned it over the crossbar. This the 6th corner of the afternoon for the Jets. And Como, it's deep, it's Cicluna, it's audacious, and it's blocked. It's going to come straight back at the Mariners though. Cockle will help it on. Van Dawson thought about the strike. Shifts onto his left, slide roll ball towards Cockle. Panaich Cullen quickly off his line, bravely at the feet of Ollie Cockle. Miller, unhappy with the options presented in front, goes back to Paragali. Helped on by Jablonski and in turn by Sambrook, and now it's DeLima. Still going here, DeLima burns around Badalato, pulled in behind El Helu, retrieved by Sambrook, blocked, and then, fortunately, into the arms of Labatch. Tug on the arm there of Lucas Cicluna from Cooper Hall, and he will join Lucas Cicluna in the book. Professional foul perhaps as the ball goes through again for De Bono. First time delivery is too far ahead of Jake Goodwin. But the Jets certainly in the ascendancy in terms of momentum at the moment. Chris Zoricic has seen enough. He will go to his bench now. A double change for these Newcastle Jets. It looks like Nick Badalato will be withdrawn, as will Alex Nunes. As we said, Nunes was on the bench for the Jets A-League set-up last night as they lifted the Premier's place against the Central Coast Mariners as well, no less. And he is now withdrawn as Newcastle look for a fresh injection of energy perhaps. Dallo Sandy has joined the fray, of course. Luca West, the other introduction. Like-for-like changes, really, for Chris Zoricic's side. Just over 20 or so minutes remaining, plus any time added on here at Pluim Park for this match of the rounds. Sambrook now looking to steal a march on Gus Reid. Into the area goes Sambrook, twisting and turning and tussling with Reid. And results a corner. Well, it hasn't quite been the 4-all draw that we had last time these two academy sides met, all the way back in August of 2020. Certainly no shortage of action at both ends. Mariners with the scoreboard ascendancy as it stands. In-swinging delivery is right on top of Labatch, who gets a very good fist to it initially. Cooper Hall winds up from a long way out. Watched it through the air for an age there, Cooper Hall, but can't add his fourth in successive appearances. Jets, as they so often want to do, looking to play their way out from the back. Under some heavy pressure here is Sandy. Able to dig their way out though. DeBono now. Early touch here for West and Cicluna. Here's Sandy. A couple of yards of space to fashion the strike, which is blocked off on the way through by Lawrence Taylor, which took all the sting out of it really before it's reached the gloves of Dylan Pereich-Cullen. Shumba Mutakui, too casual in carrying the ball forward. Taken off him by Goodwin, but then in turn taken off Goodwin by Mutakui. Schumacher. Lawrence Taylor. Nodded straight to the feet of Nkomo. Fizzed forward by Nkomo. And then an emphatic sort of clearance, really, that from the Mariners skipper, Michael Paragali. Lobach is a long way out to retrieve it. Comfortable, though. Nkomo's passing lanes once again blocked off. Cooper Hall it is, and the Mariners will go to their bench once more. That's the final action from Cooper Hall. He'll take his leave. Ari Kum enters the action for the final 20 or so minutes here at Plume. Former Sydney FC product, of course, Ari Kum. Spent some time in the UK in his younger years. Trials at the likes of Manchester City. What can he produce for these Central Coast Mariners? Luca Westo has played his way into trouble, straight to the feet of Arthur De Lima. Now an early touch for Kum, first time delivery. Was trying to pick out the feet of Ahmed El Helu. May have been wiser counsel to go directly for goal himself and be a little bit more selfish. Sandy, Cicluna. DeBono. It was those two who combined for the opening goal, Cicluna and DeBono again. Here is Ethan DeBono. Displaying a great deal of restraint and patience here, these Newcastle Jets, trying to break down what has been a resolute Mariners outfit. Nkomo's delivery is met by the head of Michael Paragali. It's going to come straight back in at them, though. DeBono. Free kick. Awarded for the foul there on Logan Sambrook. The whistle perhaps bringing some sweet relief to the Central Coast Mariners, who were having to withstand and absorb some heavy pressure there. Well, Pereich-Cullen, again, perhaps in no real hurry to take the restart, as the Mariners were absorbing some heavy pressure from their opponents. Pereich-Cullen, meanwhile, absorbing some friendly banter from those Newcastle Jets fans on the far touchline. Travelled in good numbers today, the Jets fans, of course, on a high following the premiership party in Newcastle last night. Their coronation arriving against their bitter rivals in the Central Coast Mariners. But it is here at Plume Park where the Mariners currently hold that slender advantage over their F3 Academy rivals. Mariners will look to go to their bench once more. Ahmed El Helu, who's toiled hard up top, will take a well-deserved break. Finn Sadler, it will be, to take the place of Ahmed El Halou. Here's West. Good ball to find the feet of Dallo Sandy, who turns well. De Bono shifting back onto his right foot now, Nkomo. It's cut out by Miller. He's had a busy day, the Mariners right back. Of course, he's been penned back on occasion after occasion by Nkomo. And this is an early touch here for Sadler. Picks the pocket initially of Cicluna, who offers a hand of apology. Plenty of action across the top tier of States football this afternoon as well. Of course, another academy side in action, the Western Sydney Wanderers, currently down by 2-1 against the SD Raiders. Earlier this afternoon, Wollongong handing defeat to Sydney United 58 by 1-0 as the Mariners looking to cook something up here. De Lima winds up. That's always fading away from goal, the effort from Arthur De Lima. Results from elsewhere this afternoon, of course, Rockdale Ellendon currently leading by 1-0 over St George City, and Blacktown City also leading by 1-0 over Spirit FC. Just kicking off at Lambert Park, up your Leichhardt against St George FC. Less than 15 minutes remaining here on the Central Coast. If this result is to stand, it would propel the Mariners to 6th, level on points with another academy side in the Bulls. Here's Ari Kum. Schumacher's delivery. It's an interesting sort of one. Sambrook and De Lima looking to assert some more influence on the game here. Schumacher will help it wide. Jablonski will swing it in, and Labach comfortably off his line to retrieve and basically take a throw in there as well to restart. Nkomo. De Bono looking to get around the outside of Miller, who matches him for pace initially. De Bono 1-2 with Cicluna. A little too casual in possession initially, De Bono and West. Sadler did win it back momentarily, but the Jets will retain it on halfway. Commentator's curse. Lawrence Taylor. Miller. Felt the pressure arriving from Goodwin there, and Cooley turns him. Well, that's too casual from Kum. Straight to the feet of West, and Nkomo will help it on for Cicluna. It's a great first touch from Lucas Cicluna. He will strike towards goal. It wasn't a vintage Lucas Cicluna sort of effort, though. He was off balance as he struck it, and Michael Paragali able to effect the block. And with about 11 or so minutes remaining here at Pluim Park, Chris Zoricic will go to his bench for a triple change now. Jesse Hill is one of those who will be introduced. Withdrawn Jake Goodwin. Ethan De Bono, of course, who opened the scoring so early and hoped to set the tone for proceedings. Noah Peacock is one of those that we spoke about earlier in the game. He's no stranger to Pluim Park. No stranger to scoring goals at Pluim Park either, of course, Noah Peacock. Could he do it against his former side today? Nkomo. Dallo Sandy. Nkomo. He's had a busy afternoon, Richie Nkomo. Involved in so many positive actions. Van Dawson now, West. Sandy and Como stayed forward on this near touchline. It won't come to him. Not yet, anyway. Cicluna. Passing lanes occupied initially. Wide it will go to Nkomo again. Cicluna always looking for the return pass. West under some pressure there from De Lima and gives it away to the Mariners' number 22, who has nowhere to go though. Support slow to arrive. Eventually it does from Paragali, who sends it back over halfway, but straight to the feet of his former centre-half teammate there in Gus Reid. Cicluna felt he was dragged back. Referee says nothing doing, and 2-on-2 here if the Mariners are quick enough. Slide rule pass from Sadler was easy for Van Dawson. Perhaps would have been wiser to maybe take an extra couple of touches there, Finn Sadler. Arthur De Lima, tired legs, and he's stayed in the Jets penalty area, seemingly cramping up here. So the Mariners are playing with 10 for the time being. Cicluna helps it on. And Como, Sandy, everyone behind the ball just about except for De Lima for the Mariners. Sandy, what's building here? Flag is up. So Arthur De Lima has remained prone on the turf. Didn't even make it back into his defensive half. And Lawrence Taylor as well. Another one who is cramping up. Perhaps unsurprisingly as well. Two players who have got through an absolute mountain of work this afternoon. Another one who's got through a mountain of work, Max Miller, the right fullback for the Central Coast Mariners. Had a very, very full day indeed, a full docket with Richie and Como, who has been huffing and puffing and trying his best to terrorise the Mariners. He's done ever so well to push the Mariners wingers and the Mariners fullback as well back, not to allow really all too many opportunities. He's been outstanding this afternoon, has Richie and Como for the Jets, but his side do trail. 2-1. As we said, Ethan De Bono opened the scoring so early in the first half. Pulled back almost immediately by Harvey James, who continues, his glittering run of form. And Michael Paragali, Captain Paragali, prodding home from close range following a devastating set piece from Harry Jablonski. It is that action that is the difference between these two sides. In a match which has truly befitted the match of the round billing. I think when the fixtures got released, the F3 derby is so often the one that both sets of supporters look for initially, and I feel when the fixtures did get released, this was never not going to be match of the round, in fairness. Well, it looks like Logan Sambrook and Ari Kum have just switched sides, switched flanks for the time being. Sambrook now looking like he's going to be operating on this right-hand side. Ari Kum on the left. Arthur De Lima is back into the action. Mariners still have a substitution window available to them, and I fancy they're going to use it here as well. Not before we see how this latest transitional moment from the Jets plays out. They're looking to flood forwards, looking to soar forwards. And Cicluna it is who is dragged down and gets things on the move quickly. Sandy looks for the return pass. Dallo Sandy! Off the bench and levelling proceedings here on the Central Coast. Dallo Sandy to devastating effect. It was the industry once again of that man, Lucas Cicluna, causing chaos, causing carnage. And Dallo Sandy timed his run to perfection and placed it, prodded it and poked it beyond Dylan Praich Cullen. Two apiece, and you fancy there may be a few more twists in the tail left in this one. Sandbrook this time has the beating of Sandy, not of Gus Reid though, who rather cynically takes away the legs of Logan Sandbrook, and will join Lucas Cicluna in the book. Those two former teammates, of course, Gus Reid and Logan Sandbrook. Gus Reid, who made the move up the F3 to the Newcastle Jets in the pre-season. Now getting his opportunities. And after a moment of silence from the Yellow Army, they're back up and about now, trying to lift their team. Take nothing away from these Newcastle Jets. I feel a share of the spoils is at least fair rewards for their efforts, their endeavours, their industry throughout the course of this one. But we're not done with just yet. About 5 or so minutes to go, plus any time to be added on, and the Mariners have a free kick in an intriguing sort of position, which is whipped in right on top of the goalkeeper, Labatch, who couldn't reach it. And Finn Sadler, I think it is fair to say, probably has to do better with the header. Managed to ghost free of his defender, Gus Reid, there, and Finn Sadler just guiding it over the crossbar, as it turned out. 2 apiece here on the Central Coast. Round 12. The Football New South Wales League One men's competition. Will we see another twist in the tail? Cicluna to the feet now of Johnson. The bounce, the ricochet is kind for Cicluna. If you had to pick a man of the match in this one, would be hard to look beyond Lucas Cicluna. Here's Hill, gets around Miller and delivers all too deep. Butner will look to chase it down, but it goes all the way out into touch on the far touchline. Well, no danger of this one petering out by any stretch of the imagination. The Jets looking to really turn the screws at every given opportunity. Still plenty of time for either side to come away with something from this one. Here's Nkomo. Flipped into the channel there for Sandy, who scored the equaliser just a few moments ago. Turning there is West. Effectively so as well. Now Hill. Overlapping once again is Nkomo. Sandbrook trying to delay. Nkomo will deliver, but into the 6-yard box and into the awaiting arms of Dylan Pereich. Cullen. Jablonski helps it on. Kum. Bundled off it. Not strong enough there, Ari Kum. Lawrence Taylor looks to win it back, but it pops out fortuitously for Sandy. Now Hill shifts onto his right and strikes. Sandy! Butner now pulled into the area. Corner for Newcastle. Into the final minute we go. The Jets, who levelled proceedings just a couple of minutes ago, they lead the corner count quite comfortably, and they have another one for their endeavours. Everyone just about in the Mariners penalty area in a yellow jersey. They are able to repel it to the feet of DeLima, who skips around the initial challenge and will now look to carry it out of his own half. Support was too late in arriving, and Butner was able to win it back for the Jets. Over the top towards Peacock it will go. Well, I'm not too sure. He looked very tight for offside. The flag was quick to go up there against Noah Peacock. may have just been on there, in fact, having a look at the replay, but who'd be an official, really? Absolute touch and go. The Jets, in any case, have it back. Winning it on halfway and striding forward is Van Dawson. Audacious from the centre half. Fancied the opportunity to chance his arm from 25 or 30 yards there, Ben Van Dawson. And on another day, he may have tested Prayesh Cullen, who's given it away cheaply here. Straight to the feet of Luca Hill, who bears down on goal, and it's a tap-in for Noah Peacock, who makes no mistake inside the 6-yard box and sends these travelling Jets fans into absolute raptures. The opportunity to celebrate in front of the Yellow Army, too good to passer. Jesse Hill, the architect. Noah Peacock, the goal scorer, and he has surely won the derby for the Jets. Take nothing away from the performance of these Newcastle Jets. This afternoon, they've been banging on the door all afternoon. And they've finally burst it down. Deservedly so as well. And it seems like 3 points will be making their way back up to Newcastle this evening. Can the Mariners have one last say? It's hoisted in towards Sambrook, cleared initially. Harry Kuhn will chase it down. Jablonski now to sweep it in towards Schumacher. Corner Mariners. I feel like it kind of may have been fitting if Schumacher was able to guide that towards goal. You would have had, of course, a former Mariner in Noah Peacock, who just put the Jets ahead. Followed up by his opposite, number 24, in Schumacher, a former Jet. As it is, Mariners corner, which will be an in-swinging delivery right to the edge of the 6-yard box. Paragali rises and nods it downwards. And Caden Labach will plunge on the ball. Nkomo. Cuts out by Paragali. Miller forced backwards by Jesse Hill, who was the architect for the go-ahead goal for these Jets. Jesse Hill being urged to press by his teammates. He doesn't oblige, and Paragali will send it long into the channel. Sambrook now for the Mariners. Looks to have the beating of Nkomo, and does. Still going here, Sambrook. Cross is repelled comfortably. But we will come back for the free kick. The referee is waiting to see if any advantage did accrue, and it didn't. And you feel like this may just be last chance saloon for these Central Coast Mariners. Harry Jablonski standing over the dead ball, as we see so often. What's the delivery like? It's right on top of Labach, who gets a good fist to it to turn it behind. Had to navigate through an absolute sea of bodies there, Caden Labach, who's done well when called upon this afternoon. And maybe called upon again here. Ari Kum looking to retrieve it on the edge of the area. Nkomo's clearance straight into the body of Arthur De Lima. Delivery straight into the legs of Sandy and Nkomo, and behind for another Mariners corner. Their 7th of the afternoon. Out swinging delivery this time. is deep. It hangs in the air for an age, and it evades just about everyone. Sliding challenge from Shumba Mutakoyi. Able to keep it in play, but unable to retain possession for his side, and Peacock will clip it forwards into touch. Taylor. It's all in front of him here. And Lawrence Taylor looks to go long over the top for Sambrook, who will reach it. Now Miller supporting. Excellent tracking back there from Jesse Hill, who wins it back for his side. The Jets go long, but A.H. Cullens had to come a long way to claim it ahead of Noah Peacock, and does so. Miller, Taylor. Raking crossfield ball, that is, from Lawrence Taylor. Not a bad first touch either from Jablonski. Now Ari Kum. Delivered high and deep, and again over the head of Logan Sambrook, and that could be that. And Como clears into touch on this near touchline, right in front of our vantage point here. Paragali understands the urgency of the assignment, but it's going to be all too late. A late winner for the Jets. These Newcastle Jets do the F3 Derby double over their southern rivals. 4-0 last night in the A-League, 3-2 here at Pluham Park in round 12. Certainly a match befitting of match of the round status. It was the Jets who struck first. They came out of the blocks like a team possessed. Ethan DeBono opening the scoring. They were pegged back almost immediately by Harvey James. The Mariners went ahead, courtesy of their captain, Michael Paragali. But it was the Jets bench that made the impact. Dallo Sandy equalising proceedings before Jesse Hill turning provider for Noah Peacock to slam home from inside the 6-yard box. The Jets claim bragging rights in the first derby in nearly 6 years. And I already can't wait for the next one. But that is a wrap for round 12 of League One men's action here on the Central Coast. It's been an absolute pleasure having your company this afternoon. From myself, Pete Pryor, I'll see you all next time. From me, it's bye for now.